Shalom. I'm Eddie Chumney of Hebraic Heritage Ministries, and we welcome you to this week's Focus Israel Report. In this week's report, we're going to be sharing with you regarding the death of a prominent rabbi in Israel whose name was Rabbi Ovadia Yosef. He was 93 years old. He was the top rabbi of Sephardic Jews. Sephardic Jews are those Jews who come from northern Africa and Spain. Historically, Sephardic Jews had a lesser place in Israeli society than Ashkenazi Jews. Ashkenazi Jews are those Jews who mainly come from Eastern Europe. In order to bring about a greater equality between Sephardic Jews and Ashkenazi Jews in Israel, Rabbi Yosef started the Shas political party in Israel. Therefore, Shas is the political party that represents Sephardic Orthodox Jews in Israel. So renowned and respected was Rabbi Yosef that it is estimated that 10% of Israel's population attended his funeral. It was the largest attended funeral in Israel history. Those at his funeral consisted of ultra-Orthodox Jews, modern Orthodox Jews known as religious Zionists, to secular Israelis. A Shas-affiliated radio station estimated that there were nearly 1 million people who attended his funeral. Rabbi Yosef's son-in-law said that the family took comfort in the many attendees at the funeral. "This is a difficult day," he said. "We are all hurting, but we are taken aback when we see the masses from the entire nation of Israel. We say thank you to the hundreds of thousands who came, to the people of Israel. If you came here, you show the true Torah." Dozens of speakers representing Sephardic, that is Jews from northern Africa and Spain, Ashkenazi, those Jews that come from Eastern Europe, and Hasidic Torah communities, also known as ultra-Orthodox Jews, eulogized Rabbi Yosef. Among the first to speak was Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef, one of Rabbi Yosef's sons, and current chief Sephardic rabbi of Israel. Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef spoke of his father, saying that from the days of Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Cairo, the 16th century author of the Code of Jewish Law, there has been no equal to Rabbi Ovadia, and there will be no equal to him. Speaking of his father, he said that he was one of the greatest influencers of Jewish history. Rabbi David Yosef, another son of Rabbi Ovadia, said that his father was the Moses of our generation who taught us Jewish rabbinical law. Rabbi Israel Lau, chief rabbi of Tel Aviv and former chief Ashkenazi rabbi, said that Rabbi Yosef was the rabbi of all of Israel, loved by his fellow man and by God. Referring to the large number of people who came to his funeral, how many people merit this kind of funeral, being shown this kind of love from his students? Rabbi Yosef is a Torah giant and a true leader of his people, Rabbi Lau said. The funeral of Rabbi Yosef shut down virtually all of Jerusalem. Rabbi Yosef was born in Baghdad, Iraq in 1920. He emigrated with his family to Israel in 1924. A student at Jerusalem's Parat Yosef Yeshiva, he was identified early as having special abilities and talents. He was ordained as a rabbi at the age of 20. Before reaching 30, Yosef was already serving on the rabbinical court of Cairo, where he resided from 1947 to 1950. Upon his return to Israel, he became a rabbinical judge, first on the regional court in Petah Tikva and then in Jerusalem. He became Sephardi chief rabbi of Tel Aviv in 1968, was awarded the Israel Prize for Rabbinic Literature in 1970, and in 1972 was elected to the position of Sephardic chief rabbi of Israel, a position he held until 1983. In his ruling and application of rabbinical law, his decisions were often made with leniency, which Rabbi Yosef believed was preferable to being strict and narrow. Rabbi Yosef noted in particular that for the modern generation, strict rulings could have the effect of discouraging any compliance with rabbinical law, and that lenient rulings were therefore advisable. In one of his most well-known rulings, Rabbi Yosef liberated almost 1,000 women from their halakhic status of an aguna, or a chained woman, by allowing partial testimony and evidence to determine a soldier's death. Rabbinical law requires a husband to give a bill of divorce before a woman can remarry, and the disappearance of a soldier from the battlefield causes severe problems regarding this issue. Similarly, Rabbi Yosef ruled in favor of leniency to permit the consumption of agricultural produce from Israel during the sabbatical year by symbolically selling land to non-Jews. This leniency, which is heavily opposed by Ashkenazi ultra-Orthodox rabbis, in effect circumvents restrictions on working the land during the sabbatical year. The written Torah requires that every 7 years the land not be farmed. Following his retirement as chief rabbi, Yosef's influence and power grew immeasurably upon him becoming spiritual head of the Shah's political party. Shah's was founded in 1982 prior to municipal elections scheduled in 1983 by ultra-Orthodox Sephardic politicians in Jerusalem. Rabbi Yosef was made head of a 4-man council of Torah sages for Shah's to provide halakhic and spiritual leadership to the new party. In the 1984 Israeli elections, Shah's took 4 Knesset seats. This was the beginning of the party gaining increasing political power and relevance. As a political party, Shas increasingly looked toward Rabbi Yosef for their political guidance. In 1990, the spiritual leader of the Ashkenazi non-ultra-Orthodox world, Rabbi Elazar Shach, who had hitherto been a political patron of the Shah's party, abandoned Shah's due to political differences. As a result, Rabbi Yosef became the undisputed spiritual guide and ultimate political arbiter for Shah's. In 1992, Rabbi Yosef gave his blessing for Shah's political leaders to enter into a coalition government with the then Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin of the Labor political party. It was during the prime ministership of Yitzhak Rabin that the Oslo Accords with the Palestinians were signed. Rabbi Yosef's opinion on the peace process became critical in the approval of the Oslo Accords. Prior to the 1993 Oslo Accords, Rabbi Yosef ruled that based upon the principle of saving and preserving life, which overrides almost all other rabbinical laws, this permitted Israel to return the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt in a 1979 peace agreement. Similarly, Rabbi Yosef ruled that the Israel-Palestinian conflict endangered human life, and that if lives could be saved by reaching a peace agreement, then such a peace agreement was permitted under Jewish law. Rabbi Yosef therefore instructed Shah's Knesset members not to vote against the Oslo Accords in 1993. When the vote was actually taken, Shah's abstained from the vote. If Shah's had voted against the Oslo Accords, it would have brought down the Rabin government, who needed the support of the 6 Shah's Knesset members to maintain a workable majority in the Rabin government. The support of Shah's was critical in the negotiation of the Oslo Accords and its passage in the Israeli Knesset. Since the Shah's party was first formed, it has only been outside the governing coalition 3 times. Under Rabbi Yosef's authority, Shah's frequently held the balance of power within the government it had joined, and the weight of its political strength was made apparent by its ability to create severe political crisis in order to secure the implementation of certain policies it viewed necessary and the failure of others which it believed was hostile to its interests. For example, in 2009, Shah's refused to join a coalition led by newly elected Kadima leader Tzipi Livni, resulting in new elections. Following those elections, Shah's joined Likud in a governing coalition, Likud being the party of current Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Beyond politics, Shah's had deep influences on Israeli society. Led by Rabbi Yosef, Shas restored a sense of pride among the Sephardic population in Israel, who highly loved and respected him as well. The slogan of restoring the crown to its glory became the motto of Shas. It expressed determination to restore pride in the Sephardic heritage and identity by raising the population from its low socioeconomic status, as well as addressing inequalities. By working with Shas Knesset member Ari Deri, Rabbi Yosef and the Shas party were able to secure not just religious supporters, but also tens of thousands of traditional and non-observant Sephardic Jews who took pride in their history. Shas led a renaissance in Sephardic culture and religious observance, and revived the community's tradition of scholarship in Jewish law and Torah study. Nevertheless, Rabbi Yosef also generated considerable controversy in his lifetime and created much opposition from segments of the public. Many of his opponents viewed Shas as a mechanism for taking control of religious life in Israel, for imposing its agenda on Israeli society, and for creating state bureaucracy through which it could assert its influence, while at the same time providing opportunities for financial gain to those in the Shah's political inner circle. Political appointments abounded when Shas held political office, and through its political and religious patronage, the party installed rabbis and judges in powerful positions who, under the influence of Rabbi Yosef, deeply influenced Israeli society. As a result of Shas's political influence, new political parties were formed in Israel who opposed Shas. In 2003, Tommy Lapid's Shinui party ran on a political platform explicitly opposing the mix of religion and politics operated by Shas, and as a result, Shinui won 15 Knesset seats. Shinui refused to join a coalition with either Shas or the Ashkenazi ultra-Orthodox United Torah Judaism party. Rabbi Yosef was inclined to make public announcements on sensitive political issues that frequently generated widespread rebuke, although sometimes this was due to a lack of understanding to the context and background of his comments. For example, in 2000, Rabbi Yosef said that the victims of the Holocaust were the reincarnation of Jewish souls who had sinned in previous lives. Although widely criticized for seemingly attributing blame to Holocaust victims for the Nazi genocide, Rabbi Yosef's comments were in keeping with mystical Jewish teachings regarding the destiny and purpose of Jewish souls. He later insisted that all Holocaust martyrs were holy and pure saints, and that he had been trying to provide a theological explanation for their suffering. In 2005, Rabbi Yosef attributed the catastrophic damage and loss of life caused by Hurricane Katrina in the United States to godlessness in New Orleans and the pressure brought to bear by the U.S. for an Israeli withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. Recently, Rabbi Yosef's denunciation of political figures and parties in Israel, including in the past year the national religious party Jewish Home, continued to create tensions in political circles, even in the weeks prior to Rabbi Yosef's final hospitalization. So without doubt, Rabbi Yosef's presence on the national stage as a person of supreme halakhic authority has had a profound influence on Israeli society for decades. His passing will truly mark the end of an era, with the future of Shas and religious politics in general shrouded in the unknown. What is certain is that the Shas political party increasingly will become divided without the unquestioned leadership and authority of Rabbi Yosef, which is very unlikely to be repeated by anyone claiming to be his successor. So in this week's report, we shared with you regarding the significance of the death of Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, the religious leader of Sephardic Jews in Israel, and the profound effect that the political party that he founded, that is Shas, has had on politics in Israel over the past several decades. As a result, we are very likely to see changes in Israel's political landscape in the coming years. His great popularity was exemplified given that his funeral is estimated to be the largest in Israeli history, where nearly 10% of the Israeli population came to his funeral. Rabbi Yosef is survived by 11 children and a great many grandchildren. Rabbi Yosef will truly be missed by many. Rabbi Yosef was 93. Until we do it again, Shalom in Yeshua the Messiah. Amen.